Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Victoria and I talk about all things hockey and baseball from across the pond in Scotland, and for today's video I'm talking about just everything that's been going on in the Toronto Maple Leafs lately. We're past that lull in the year where the NHL is completely dead, in between when playoffs end and the draft starts basically. So here's a rundown on things that have been going on lately in the Leafs and what I think of them. So the main one right now is definitely that Sheldon Keefe is staying on as coach. On June 27th, which was yesterday as of filming this, the Leafs GM Brad Treliving, whose name I still keep thinking I'm saying wrong, announced that Sheldon Keefe would be returning as head coach for the next season. He said that he thinks the relationship that Keefe has with the players is really important, and who knows, perhaps a new perspective in management might help Keefe to coach the team further than what he's got before. I am happy about this. I like Sheldon Keefe and I rate him a lot. And I don't know how much of the issue is related to coaching necessarily and why the Leafs can't get closer to a cup. However, I am concerned about the lack of changes so far that are going on in Toronto. There's a lot of time left still. The draft is today, it's still to come, we'll talk about that. July 1st, we'll probably see a lot more happen. But as of right now, there hasn't, apart from a change in GM, there hasn't been a lot of change. So Sheldon Keefe coming back is again something that isn't being altered, but we'll see. I think Keefe is good at his job. A coach needs a good relationship with the players and he definitely has that. And I'm excited to see what this new work relationship between Treliving and Keefe might bring to the team. The other biggest thing going on in Leafs land right now is definitely the William Nylander and Auston Matthews potential deals, or what's going to happen there. So in an ideal world, it would be great to have both of them back, but in the salary cap era, that might just not be possible. Matthews, in my opinion, basically whatever is needed to get him back probably. He seems to want an extension, he loves Toronto, and I don't think there's anywhere else that would give him all the benefits that he likes of playing there while also being a decent team. He's big on the brand sponsorships, he does a lot of his own side things in addition to playing, and that sort of reputation he has, I'm just not sure there's anywhere else in the NHL he's going to find that, and he's going to find the same amount of opportunities as he does there. I could potentially see him on a team like Vegas or LA one day potentially, just because they have that sort of spotlight thing that I think he really enjoys just now. But as of right now, he seems to like being a Leaf, and I can definitely see him doing everything he can to extend. However, if he wants a cup, I don't know if Toronto's going to be the place to get that, and he might see somewhere else as a better opportunity. He might want to wait the year out and then walk into free agency, but that means the Leafs get nothing, so I can't imagine that's something they would want. He could also use next season to boost up his value a lot. The past season definitely wasn't the best for him, so it'll have decreased his value on the market a bit. So I don't know if he'll see next year as the potential to increase that value and get something better for himself. In a way, I feel like Auston Matthews almost dictates the future of the Leafs right now, and I know that sounds dramatic, but he kind of does, because he is going to be able to dictate how much money is left for other players on the team, and if he does eventually leave the Leafs, that's a big gap to fill. There's the question, would he take a pay cut like other players have done for their team? I'm not sure, and it's unfortunate that players have to take pay cuts, but at the same time, if he wants to play for the Leafs and he wants to play on an otherwise well-rounded team with great depth, he might have to take a bit of a pay cut in order to do that. I would love to see that from him. I think that's something that I would really admire, and it would allow the Leafs to have an all-round better team but still keep Matthews there. But I'm excited to see what happens. I'm not sure that July 1st is going to come and we're going to see something like immediately happen. I'm not sure that's going to be the case, but we'll wait and see. So then on to Nylander. I love William Nylander so much, but the Leafs need to keep some money somewhere, and Nylander looks like the easiest option to kind of trade and get some money back on. However, again, that's a big gap to fill in the team. He's been consistent. In my opinion, he was the most consistent of the core all season, both regular season and post-season. He's been one of the best on the team for scoring all year long, and he produces a lot as a player. I think he'll be looking for around the 9 million a year mark. I think the Leafs would ideally want to keep it in the 8s, but he definitely deserves to be at the 9 million. So we'll see what happens there, but I would love to see both of them stay, because I think that Nylander is sometimes very undervalued in the eyes of people compared to what he produces. So I'm excited to see what will happen there, but I'm afraid I don't know if Nylander is going to be staying, which makes me really sad because he's one of my absolute favourite players on the team and he does a lot. So next, on to free agency and trade targets. So if anyone wants a separate video on this stuff, I'm happy to do that. I'll just touch on it quickly just now because I don't want this video to be too long. So free agency opens on Saturday and I'm just really happy that there's this much life again in the NHL, to be honest. I've missed it. And on Tuesday, Darren Dredger shared that the Leafs are circling around Alex Kerfoot and David Kampf. Now, David Kampf has a lot of consistency in winning face-offs. He got 27 points scored across 82 games played this year, and I definitely think there's the potential for him to be on the team. Alex Kerfoot, however, I personally am less sold on. He definitely has amazing moments. He's a good player, but he wouldn't be a priority of mine as a Leafs fan to have back. I also see Bunting as too much of a liability compared to the probable cost. The problems he has with the officiating, however right or wrong that is just a liability for the team and it's really tiring to see. So he's not, again, somebody that I'd be desperate to have back, which is a shame because I do really like Bunting, I do. However, in particular, I would love O'Reilly, Shen and Achari to all be back as Leafs next year. But out of those, Luke Shen is the one I'm just not sure will be back. But ideally, you know, I would love for those three to be back next year. And of course, the Matt Murray contract needs sorted somehow. I'm not sure how they offload that, but you know, I've also had my eye on Connor Hellebuyck for a while now and I would love to see him in a Leafs jersey. But I won't talk any more on trades. If you guys want a separate video on that, I can do that. Final thing to cover is Trey Living's first Leafs draft. So the draft is tonight as I film this, so probably most of you are watching this after the draft's already happened. But anyway, the Leafs in the first round have a 28th overall pick. And I'm going to predict here, I'm throwing caution to the wind, I think Oliver Bonk is going to be who they select. The Leafs will definitely be looking for some young defensive talent. It's something that they're missing in the pipeline currently. The pipeline isn't great as it is, but it has more strength in forwards, so something defensive is definitely what I think they'll be looking for. Oliver Bonk is a Canadian right-shot defenseman and he was playing in the London Knights in the OHL. He's 6'1" and weighs 176 pounds. He's a good physical player, he's a solid skater, he's got a great shot and a high hockey IQ. He also recorded 40 points in 67 games in the regular season and he also got 11 assists in 21 playoff games too. I think he could be a great addition for the Leafs, who are obviously picking later in the draft, so if he's available, I have a feeling that this would be their choice. But as I said, probably most of you are watching this after the draft has happened, so this is probably less relevant, but I wanted to put my thoughts out there. So there is my rundown on everything happening in the Maple Leafs this week. Let me know down below your thoughts on Keefe staying as coach, the draft tonight if it hasn't already happened yet, and if it has happened, leave your thoughts on that down below. What do you think of the Nylander and Matthews situation? And what's your priority in terms of trade and free agency? So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more content and also share it if you really enjoyed it. And I'll be back soon with more hockey and baseball chats from across the pond. Bye guys.